Merry Christmas from the Wishbone old fucks. Want to thank Big T and all the giblets and time we spent on the workbench with the ladies this past year, even though 2020 sucks. Carson Wentz sucks. Not a top 5 quarterback. Might not even have a fucking job next year. Our dicks are big, and next year we're looking for better things and more workbench time. Listen, when you're talking about the workbench, you better be fucking eating ass, licking clit all day, twice on Sunday. Let's fucking go. Ready to roll, ready to roll, ready to roll. And listen, Big T, Big T, keep running pure, and Wentz sucks ass.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to a special edition talking some NBA DFS hoops. We're talking the Christmas Day slate. I got my boys AP and Big T, and damn, I mean, we got to start with Big T after that Big Stu video we got going on. I mean, Big T, you got to have Wood. Come on, what's going on, brother?
Stu's the man. He gets it going. You got to love it. I don't like how he mispronounced giblets, though. I hate when people say giblets. You got to get it. You got to get it a strong pronunciation, Stu. We love the video though. The Wishbone. You got to thank them. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was good stuff. I mean, yeah, come on, you got to give him a little credit here. It was good. I get the giblets thing, but
it was good. It was
definitely. He brought the fire. Cool. He brought the fire. That's what you want to see, you know. And we got AP. AP, what's up, brother? How was your NBA slate last night, and how we doing today?
It was good, man. Fun slate. Just it's so good to have hoops back. I mean, watching games all night, grinding content. It's a ton of fun. And how about our boy Ja? I mean, it seemed like consensus was Ja, and then we were running it back with DeJounte Murray. I mean, those two guys absolutely smashed. Ended up being difference makers. It was nice.
Yeah, for sure. And don't forget, guys, like and hit subscribe on the YouTube video. We really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But yeah, Ja, first of all, like, he was amazing. I talked about it on the Up to Lock show. I talked about how, to me, he was one of the best players that I watched in preseason. He was one of the best players I watched in the bubble. And I thought he was going to take just another step. And we were on him. We liked him. I know DC wrote him up in his article too. He liked him as well. There's a few guys that liked him. I know Tony talked about him a little bit on the show as well, the show before the Up to Lock show. So, I mean, it was kind of a RPS. We kind of all somewhat got on this play, at least for tournaments anyways, and he definitely smashed. That worked out. So that was pretty good. And for NBA guys, if you're not a subscriber and you're not in for our NBA product, get in now. Use the promo code BUCKETS15. Get you 15% off for life of your subscription that you get. So BUCKETS15 is the code, 15% off. Get in there now. We got the slate plan where me, AP, Hoop, Big T write up our thoughts on the slate, how we're going to attack the slate. Then we've got our core plays, our tiers. Core plays is where we kind of give you our 4 or 5, top plays to build through your lineups with. And we all do that Monday through Friday with a couple other guys in and out there, Mangone, Titletown, a few other guys that'll help out. And then the tier section where we kind of list in each tier stud, mid-range and value play. We'll give you like 2 or 3 options there. We'll give you a fade, and then we'll give you a slate breaker. And yeah, it's pretty solid content. And I think you guys, if you're not a subscriber, check it out. Give it a shot. Sign up for a month, try it out. If you like it, keep it going. Use the promo code Buckets15. But boys, we got a nice Christmas Day slate to talk about here. Anything else before we get rolling? Big T, anything?
No, there's not much better throughout the year, though, than this Christmas slate. You got games, 5 games spread out throughout the – I always like the spread out factor, whether it's basketball, football, whatever it is. Watch one game at a time. You get that sweat where, like, maybe somebody goes off, everyone panics, somebody busts, pivots are talked about. There's just so many more dynamics when it's one game at a time than when there's 6 games going and then another 5, and then another 3 or whatever it is. I like the one game at a time, no matter what sport it is.
Yeah, for sure. I love these slates because you get to kind of like build through, like after the first game, if you want to pivot, you know what I mean? You have that chance to kind of mess around after a game or two. One game bust, maybe you have to swap out some guys that you were high on. Maybe they were a little higher owned for some lower owned guys. I think there's, some good game strategy and game theory going on for these slates. AP, anything just overall before we dive in?
No, I agree with both of you guys. I think 5 games is just like the perfect number too. So it's going to be a ton of fun. It's always one of my favorite slates, and I think we're going to crush. The content's just been so on point.
No doubt, man. Don't forget, guys, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's dive into the first game. We've got the New Orleans Pelicans and the Miami Heat. AP, let's start off with you here. We got to see both these teams yesterday. Anything taking away from either of these two teams? And then what do you think for this game tomorrow?
Yeah, my take on the Pelicans. So on the bet side, and get over there if you're not a subscriber, I'm doing my NBA bets. I'm doing it in a blog type format just so I can add some context to the plays. But I'm going to be hammering, if the line is right, I'm going to be hammering unders on a lot of these Pelican games. I mean, Stan Van Gundy, known to be a defensive guy, known to try to slow the pace down. We also have, they're trying to roll out a true center in Steven Adams too. And I mean, it creates a different dynamic. I mean, if you look at the game yesterday against the Raptors, they shot the ball pretty well. I mean, Brandon Ingram went nuts, but that game fell, I think, 18 points under the total. So again, I'm under on this game, fired a bet already. I'm not as high on it, from a fantasy standpoint too. The Pelicans have a ton of mouths to feed. The one guy, and I don't like it at all, but the one guy, Eric Bledsoe, if you think about Van Gundy, he loves these guys that plays defense. So Bledsoe, 56, or I think he's in the 5K range. I think he's going to get the minutes. I mean, he got 34, so I mean, if you think about projection numbers and everything else, they're probably looking at Bledsoe's rotation when he was on the Bucks. And, Bledsoe was a guy that was only getting 24 to 28 minutes a game. It looks like Van Gundy is going to want to give this guy 33 to 34 minutes. So, like, if I fell on Bledsoe, I would definitely play him. And then on the Miami side, you can always play Bam if the price is right. I mean, this dude can always get it done despite the matchup. And so I'm never going to, cross Bam totally off my list. But overall, I want to limit exposure to this game. And, it's this Christmas slate. We talk about it all the time. News can drop. We can always adjust. I don't want to load up on this early game.
Yeah, no doubt. And we got some pretty good totals on this slate in general. This is a 226.5 right now total, which will be interesting. But I agree with you. I think that when you're looking at the Pelican side, I mean, Brandon Ingram and Zion is where you're just going to constantly start when you look at this team. One of these two guys, probably even both, because so much is centered around those two. I thought one thing I took away from yesterday was the fact that Brandon Ingram, he's up and down, but I will say this, when he's on, he can do everything on the court. You want playmaking? Well, he can playmake. He can get assists. He can get rebounds. He can push the ball. He can hit the mid-range jumper. He can score, in waves. he's a really good, in my opinion, all-around player who's still getting better. I thought he, to me, was one of the guys that I was very impressed with that game. And then Zion. I mean, I just think Zion's a beast. It's just he's 8,100. Ingram's 8,300. I don't think you're going to be able to play both of these guys on the slate. So I think you got to choose between them if you're going to play one. And then I agree with you. Bam underneath them at 7,800. That's tough not to look at Bam at least and say that's a pretty nice price tag underneath those two. So I agree with you on those three guys. But Bam is nice. Tony, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, first of all, like AP's take about the under, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that total feels outrageous to me. I mean, 226.5 right now, it looks like it's at across the board. Like, that is just way too high for what these teams are going to do. It's basing a lot, I'm sure, on New Orleans past. Now they got a new team, even with Steven Adams, like AP said. You got two mammoth dudes in there, Zion and Steven Adams. They're not going to be the same run and gun team this year. They're just not going to be. This total, I wouldn't be shocked if this total was, I mean, they would never post it this low, but like 20 points too high. Like, they're not going to post a 206 or something. Like, they just won't do it. But I feel like it should be down there. I wouldn't be shocked if this game plays in the low 100s, just kind of like where AP said, which means Christmas Day, we get late swap. There's going to be news throughout the day. There's literally nothing wrong with just ignoring this first game and enjoying your families, whatever you're doing. If news hits or something, if you play one dude, maybe hop in there and play one dude. But I don't have an issue just pretending this game isn't on there and pretending the slate starts at 2:30 with that next game. Get a lot more time. I love the freaking under. I'm definitely going to bet that, put it up with AP over on the bet side too. As far as fantasy, though, I like some of these guys, but they're just priced right. Kind of like you guys were saying. I mean, Ingram and Zion. I love Zion in this game. I think he'll show up for the Christmas slate too. But man, 8,100. There's just no meat on the bone. Like, well, even if he gets 50, like you're not crushing 8,100, and he's not gonna. I don't see a world where he gets like 60 or something and just totally breaks the slate in a low-scoring game. Same with Ingram. They're just priced right. Alonzo, Adams. I mean, maybe Adams feels slightly too cheap to me in this system because Adams is going to be one of the ones I think that we get a boost from last year where he was playing not a ton of minutes in OKC at times. Different things would happen. He would get pushed off the court, different stuff like that. I think they'll play him low to mid 30s minutes, which, I mean, there could be if you wanted to play someone on that side. Bledsoe, same thing as Adams. I mean, you could play Bledsoe. I don't hate it if you want some exposure, but at least those guys are priced fairly. I mean, under 6K on DK. FanDuel is always easy pricing too if you like these guys easier, but definitely not the high guys. And then the Miami side, I can't do it. I mean, Bam at 78 is fine, but I just talked about those two mammoth dudes. Bam is solid. I love Bam, but with Adams and Zion in the middle, it's not going to be easy sledding for Bam. There's some big dudes in there. There could be foul trouble. There could be a lot of different things. So I don't see it. I'm looking at the rest of the prices. I mean, Hero, 56. I don't hate it. Like, if I was going to attack anywhere for Miami, it would be the guards. Just, I don't love it. But without Drew there, maybe they get a lot worse at defending the guards. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think anything for me, but just price-sensitive plays, if anything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jackson Hayes played 6 minutes. Adams played like 31. So they had like 37 minutes of a true center on the floor. I think in this matchup, it would actually make sense the way Miami rolled out their team, at least their starters anyways, is playing a little more Zion at the 5. I don't know if they're going to do it. It doesn't seem like it. It seems like they really want Adams to play 30 minutes. But I don't know, like if Mo Harkless is playing 20-plus minutes at the 4, you would think they would, if they're going to roll out the big lineup, you would think one of Zion or Steven Adams is going to have a very big mismatch down low if that's what Miami's going to do.
Harkless is in that lineup. I need to bet New Orleans.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
will pound that team on the
and when
glass.
Kelly and then when Kelly O comes in, because Kelly O's the backup. Like, I mean, that's a dream matchup for whoever gets Kelly O. So I maybe we should have a little more interest in Steven Adams at a cheap price tag, just because, like you guys said, he is cheap. Maybe
I
we
don't
need to
see
have a
them
little
pushing
more.
him off the floor either. Like, it's game 2. I don't think they adjust to other teams unless it just gets like disrespectful out there. Like they're just abusing the big lineup or something. But I don't think that'll happen. I mean, Adams and Zion are tough dudes. Like they're not gonna. I don't know. They'll compete enough. They'll pound them on the. I think we should. I might bet New Orleans too with our under because +5. I think that's too high. I think New Orleans matches up good here.
And JJ Redick was on fire for that last night. He had 23 points. He was on fire from the field. I mean, this is definitely a tougher matchup with Miami here. So we'll see. JJ Redick is cheap, though, on DraftKings, 4,400. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's about it from this game. I don't really love a ton of the plays. Let's move on to the next game where the Golden State Warriors, Milwaukee Bucks, Bucks are obviously favored here. 232 total. The biggest total on the board we got for the Christmas Day slate here. Golden State is coming off a game where they pretty much, from a DFS side anyways, I would say that they, besides Steph Curry, let everyone everyone down. Like from a DFS side, Wiggins and even Kelly Oubre and all the guys they had over there, except for James Wiseman too. I forgot about him, but not many people played him. So what are we thinking here from the Warriors side against a really tough Bucks team that looked pretty good against Boston? I will say those two teams are going to be fun to watch in the East. I definitely think Boston, when they get everyone healthy, Kemba back, is going to be a real tough out. AP, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like the sports books left this crazy line up for quite some time of the Bucks just favored by 7 points. I ended up getting it hammered at 7.5. It's all the way up to 10 now. So again, shout out to the bet side. Get over there. We're getting on these. Like the first game, I posted my play at 227.5. It's trending down. It's going to trend down further. It's just what it is. You got to get on these lines early. And, that's why we're doing this content for you guys. Here's my take on this game. The total's interesting for sure. The Bucks did. It looks like they were taking care of the Celtics in the first half, and they let them back. Again, I don't see how the Warriors are going to keep up. And if you look at the second unit, like the problem last night was the second unit could not keep up with the Celtics. Bryn Forbes was missing shots. He didn't see much time on the court. Bobby Portis wasn't getting it done. Against the Warriors, these guys are going to match up so much better. I think this is a sneaky spot to where this second unit could be the key to the slate. Like if we want to stack some of these other spots later, we might need some of this value. And value isn't as transparent today on this or tomorrow on this 5-game slate. So like in my tournament builds, it might sound kind of crazy, but I'm legit looking at guys like Bobby Portis, guys like Bryn Forbes, who is going to be, they're going to need him to be a shooter in the second unit. I mean, I respect that guy's shot. He went 1 for 4 or 1 for 5, only on 13 minutes yesterday. I think he's going to be the guy that gets the garbage time run. It might be crazy, but look, this guy's 3K. I have a path that in this Nets and Celtics game that we're going to get to that I think is just going to be, absolutely the shipper on this slate. And I'm going to need some crazy value. So for me, I'm fading Giannis at almost 11K. I'm fading Middleton off that beast of a game that he had. I think everyone's going to run to Dante DiVincenzo, which he's a fine value, but look, like he was crazy efficient yesterday. We're not going to see that all the time. And so I would much rather look at the second unit, and I'm going to be focused on trying to find some guys there. Then on the Warriors side for me, look, like the only thing I liked about Andrew Wiggins is Kerr left him out there. Like this dude sucked. He was bad, couldn't make a shot. Kerr left him out there with this garbage time run early in the fourth quarter, and it was almost like just to maybe build some confidence. And so you do like to see that. He saw over 30 minutes. He's not going to go 4 for 16 every single game. Fast-paced environment. I think it's a buy low spot on a guy like Wiggins when everyone's going to be off because of how bad he looked. I'm fading Curry, fading Oubre. And, man, the Warriors, they rolled out a 13-man rotation. So that's a tougher second unit to target, in my opinion.
Yeah, Tony, what do you think here with this high total we got here? AP likes a lot more of the Milwaukee bench guys. What do you think about that? And then the studs, obviously.
Yeah, this is one of the interesting spots of the day, just because, man, Golden State just looked so terrible opening day. Milwaukee's always going to be tough, especially with the roster they got right now. So I agree. Again, I hate to just agree with everything, but I like these bench guys just because if the game does get a little bit out of hand, which, I mean, Milwaukee has veteran dudes that have been through the grind. I could see them I could see Golden State getting blown out again right out of the gate, back-to-back games. They just haven't played a ton together. They're going against all veterans on Christmas. You know Giannis wants to show up. I could see them really pounding those guys. And everybody's priced pretty correctly on the starting unit, I would say. Giannis, you could always play Giannis. I mean, he's going to get you probably 60 fantasy points, right in that range where, sure, it's fine. I'm not saying it's not. You can plug him in. There's just not a ton of value out there. Who knows? Maybe value opens up. Maybe something changes and you can play guys like that. But I don't really see it in a blowout game. Drew 75, Middleton 74, Brooks 6K. Like I can't play any of those prices. The bench guys though is where it gets interesting. I mean, Forbes, how many minutes did he play? 20?
About 13, I think. 14.
Yeah, he got pulled early.
He
got
played
your boy
14
DJ Wilson though.
So he played 14 minutes, went 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Bobby Portis played 16 minutes, 1 for 3 from the field. DJ Wilson 13, Pat Connaughton 23. Those were really the 4 that played like decent minutes off the bench.
I like the Forbes call the best from AP. I think 3K is just the stone man. The only issue I have whatsoever is like you're going to need probably some blowout run to get him in there, but I think we get that. And who knows? If he hits some shots, he could catch some normal run anyways. And he's 3K, so like I always say with the 3K guys, there's not a ton of risk. I mean, say he has another bad game. I mean, it's tough to completely blank against Golden State. I mean, his floor's got to be like 10 or 12, I would think, if he's getting somewhat normal minutes. I think he'll get there. But I could see him, if he catches like a whole fourth quarter of run, getting you like 25 fantasy points and opening everything up for you. Portis has always been a stud when he gets time and in good spots. I could see him crushing. The guy, there's no way I'm playing. DJ Wilson in that bubble, it gave me freaking nightmares. He was horrific in that bubble, like so bad. They didn't even want to play him anymore. They were playing scrubs over him. Maybe something's changed in 2 months. I highly doubt it. He just doesn't look very good to me. So I'm not going to play that guy probably ever again unless he ends up, even if he's in the starting lineup one day, I still probably won't play him because I just have lost all respect for the guy. I just don't think he's good at basketball. So he's off my list. I like the take, though, again. Portis and Forbes are 2 guys that stick out to me. I think you can play them together too, because like always on these slates where the games are one by one, I treat them almost like showdowns in a way where you can kind of just see what's going on with your team. Like say you plug these 2 in and they both crush, you're basing it on a blowout. All of a sudden, if you fade the first 2 games and get a blowout here, like you could be sitting gold for those last 3 games. And I don't know. I like it. I think you'll need a blowout to completely crush, but we might just get that.
Yeah, for sure. I think if I had to pick a bench guy from Milwaukee that I would play, it'd probably be Bobby Portis. He's a guy who, even in 15 minutes, could get you, like 10 points, 8 rebounds. Like he could do work in 15 minutes. If he gets you 20 in a blowout, he could definitely smash too. But he's obviously that like boomer bust guy because you have to hope that they blow him out, right? From Milwaukee, other than that, like the studs, Giannis to me seems like the safer spend up on the day. I think this is a very easy matchup for Giannis. Like this is perfect for him. One thing about the Warriors, when I watched the last game was pretty much Brooklyn, whoever was in there, they were allowed to do whatever they wanted. Karis LeVert was just constantly getting into the middle, the teeth of the defense, and just destroying them, assisting, scoring. Like, I think guys like if Middleton were to see his full run, I think a guy like Middleton would smash in this matchup. The problem is I don't know if he gets the full run because I think they blow him out as well. If you were to tell me, though, Golden State keeps this game close, I would really like Chris Middleton in the spot just because I think
if they kept it close, I'd like everyone in the game.
Yeah, that's the problem. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if they keep it close. So I don't think they will.
It's a good point that you say that, though, because like if this game does stay close, the slate's going to be over after 2 games because all these dudes are going to crush if it stays close, without a doubt.
Seriously, because if Golden State, like, I'm not going to probably pay for Steph Curry, but like if Golden State keeps it close, you have to imagine Steph Curry went crazy. Andrew Wiggins or Kelly Oubre had a really good game. Like, and these guys are going to be lower owned, in my opinion. I think they have to be. So I don't mind it. James Wiseman, too. We just have to talk about him because this is ultimate respect here. Dude just went up one good game and he goes to 6,200 on
It makes it to where you can't even consider him, though. Like,
it's just, I would love to play him if he was in the 4K still, but like, man, tough matchup. Brook Lopez extending the center. God, I can't pay that price tag, though. So
I don't understand when you prices people like that. Like, every single player on the slate should be priced to where you can at least consider. I mean, 6,200, like, there's just no scenario. That's just, you can't even, in tournaments, you can't even say, like, in tournaments, I'd play Wiseman. It's that bad of a price.
Yep, it is. And then the fear of blowout. It's just, it's bad. Let's move on.
Jizz, he got the blowout run against the Nets. He was in there for the final.
Yes, he did, but he only saw 24 minutes.
Right. And that's the biggest issue for sure.
And if he was getting normal run where like even in a blowout, he sees 24, 25 minutes. And if the game stayed close, he's getting like 32 minutes, then we're talking a little different. But it's just tough. And the matchup is not great either. This is just not a great spot for him overall, in my opinion. Before we move on to the next game, I just want to remind everyone, if you are not an RPS subscriber, we have a promo code running right now, Buckets15. That code gets you 15% off the life of your subscription. So 15% off for as long as you don't cancel your subscription for the life of it. So get in right now. Buckets15 is the promo code. We also got a members-only premium show going up to lock for NBA Final Countdown show with me and Holden, which we do Monday through Friday. And then we're going to have a special one this weekend for Saturday and Sunday where we will run you up through NBA lock from 6 to 7 Eastern. And then we're going to run you pretty much up through NFL lock of Showdown from 7 to 8 Eastern. So we'll talk NBA for the first hour, and then we'll talk NFL Showdown for the second hour. And, if you're around, we'll take questions and all that stuff. So make sure you check that out as well. We'll be doing it Saturday and Sunday this week for the holiday weekend. So make sure you tune in for that. Boys, let's move on to the next game.
Well, one side note before we go to that third game. We talked about how we like New Orleans maybe +5. Literally right after I said it on the show on Twitter, Wilson tweeted, one of the sharpest dudes in the industry, Pels +5 for Christmas, literally right after we said it. And then our boy Empire piles on 5-star play. So I think we got something with the little Pellies on Christmas. A Christmas present from Run Pure to all of you watching this or listening tomorrow when you're watching this. Pels and under. Start your Christmas right.
There you go. Big T's adding it to the bet side right now as we speak. Let's move on. Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics here. I think, in my opinion, this is probably going to be the best game of the night from just a watch standpoint. I think this game, everyone's going to want to watch this game. Kyrie, obviously, going to Boston, playing some of his old teammates. You got KD in his second game back. -2.5 is the line. That's a favorite here. 228 total. Tony, let's start here with you. What do you think of this game?
Yeah, you said it. Like, it's a great real life game. And man, so I'm trying not to be too recency biased with that first game, but the issue with it is I kind of thought this going into the season where Brooklyn is just freaking nasty, man. Like, they got dudes that are just hoopers. You got maybe the two best just straight hoopers in the world. I mean, I'd put Harden in there too. Like, if you were just going to the gym and you just wanted some dude to get you 80 points on random dudes, like, who would you choose? KD, Kyrie? Like, you would choose these guys over LeBron and Kawhi, and those guys are more NBA, like, just stud overall, just gems. But as far as just hooping, KD and Kyrie would be way to the top of the list, if not 1-2. They're on the same team, and the scary part is you got guys like freaking LeVert coming off the bench. LeVert is like in his prime. He was unbelievable last year. They almost don't even need him, is how crazy it is. He's like the new sixth man guy coming off the bench that's going to crush all year. Like, we've always loved Sweet Lou. We've always loved Jamal Crawford in the past. These guys that just get you freaking buckets off the bench. That's him this year. You don't even really lose a beat. You got bigs that you can play, Jared Allen, DeAndre. I've never been a big DeAndre guy, but he fits on this team. This team, you got Joe Harris who can shoot. This team is friggin' nasty, and it shows the respect. I mean, they're favored over Boston on Christmas. It kind of shows you the odds makers are buying in too. If this team stays healthy, I just don't see how they don't win the East and have a chance to win the title. I know it's early. One game against a bad team. I probably am overrating it a little bit, but just the roster. I mean, Dinwiddie too. I didn't even talk about Dinwiddie. I mean, you're talking about what I consider to be probably the best roster in basketball, and they're just loaded. And this game is just a beast of a game as far as pure basketball. But circle back to prices. I don't see any prices that like are blatantly sticking out wrong. I mean, KD at 94, Kyrie at 89. One thing about these guys having such a good team, it is going to spread around a little bit, and there's going to be times where they blow people out too. It's just a tough team, and I kind of feel like a lot of these guys are overpriced. I'm looking like they're fine. I think these guys get in the 40s, KD and Kyrie. LeVert, I mean, 7,200. I love LeVert, but I mean, 7,200 for a guy coming off the bench, I don't know if I love that. Boston's always going to defend at a high level. And then you look at the Boston side. I mean, these prices, I guess I would consider like the mid-range where you would look. Guys like these, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, even at 7K, coming off a monster debut of 50+. But you know who I think is going to crush this year too, and he had the good first game, is Teague. Just because Boston has always been really good for point guards, at least since this coaching staff's been there. But 4,200 is a price that kind of like those Milwaukee guys where it just feels too cheap. And in NBA, as you guys know, that's the most important part, just finding guys that are too cheap, no matter where you get them from. 4,200 for Teague. I think we might see a little comeback this year from Teague. Good spot. Is Kemba? What is the deal with Kemba anyway?
He's still out. For
like long time too.
Like
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little bit. They said mid-January was his projected comeback, somewhere in that.
The Teague is just lock and load for me for a while. I want to see more, but before I go like full in. But 4,200 is a good price. So I'll ask you guys, like, is this a guy that's going to be owned because of his price and coming off a good game, or like, what do we do with Teague?
It's not just it's coming off of a good game. He's definitely going to be a popular play. 4,200. It looks like DraftKings really didn't adjust. So for some reason, they adjust on some players like Wiseman, who now we can't play, but then they leave Jeff Teague at 4,200. It really doesn't make sense.
In the 6Ks, and he's 4,200.
Exactly. He saw 25 minutes, 26 minutes. He had I think he had 30+ fantasy points. He had a really good game. And he makes sense on this team. Like Marcus Smart, he's just different than Marcus Smart. He's a He's a vet that can shoot. He can create for others. He does a little of everything. Like, he makes sense on this team. He's very different than Marcus Smart. AP?
Yeah, I think DraftKings released pricing before the games were over last night. So, I mean, that kind of, and then, we had the Warriors game, the night before. So, we give DraftKings a little bit of leeway with that. But, I mean,
I'm okay with getting a free square anyways. Like, I'm okay with that. We'll get different. Us three are good at getting different in other spots.
His rotation looked like Lou Will, where he came off the bench, but he's going to finish the game. And he got run deep in the second quarter, too, to finish that. So it was like gets in, gets out a little rest, gets back in, and he's going to be a guy that has starter-type minutes is what it looks like. Now, I'm with you guys. I think this is going to be just – so I'm looking at this, like, I have a lean on the over right now, 228. I agree with Big T. I think the Nets, if you look at every team in the NBA right now, I don't think there's anyone that can compete with them as far as offensive firepower goes. Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Durant, Joe Harris, Karis LeVert. This team is going to put up a ton of points all season long. And they're pushing the pace too. Steve Nash has them running down the court. They did not do anything, in my opinion, they did not do anything like that special on the defensive side of the court against the Warriors. They just shot them out of off the court. And, they had guys like Andrew Wiggins and Oubre that could not make a shot to save their life. And so I love this game. And I think I think it's going to be a popular game to target. I think people are going to naturally try to side with Kyrie, KD, maybe try to fit both of them into their lineup, maybe go back to LeVert or Dinwiddie. I think the sharp side here, if you're stacking this game up, is in going with the Boston guys. I think we're already seeing a condensed, rotation that is all about Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Jeff Teague, and Marcus Smart. The awkward side of this game is they're starting Tristan Thompson and Daniel Theis. It's just a really awkward front court. And we already saw it with the Nets. And JSU, you and I talked about this. The Nets have a team that they can easily go small. And we saw it late in the fourth, late in the second, and then, during garbage time. We did not see DeAndre Jordan or Jared Allen in the game. They actually gave like Jeff Teague Jeff Green some run, which was, kind of crazy. But it just shows that both of these teams can go small. I think my build is going to be on that route. I think we're going to see a lot of Teague. I think my, smash play is going to be Tatum. I think Tatum's going to have a big year. I don't think there's anyone on the Nets side that's going to be able to lock him up. And he caught fire in the second half last night. He was not playing well until that second half. And, he got the game winner too. So he has a ton of momentum going to this game. I love Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown stacks with Jeff Teague. When I just think of this game and a 5-game, this game specifically, then on a 5-game slate, we can stack games up a little bit more, especially if there's games that we completely want to cross off. I'm pretty confident that those guys all smash. And then what you do is a 3-and-1 type stack. You bring it back with a Kyrie or KD. I think it might be a slightly contrarian way to stack this game up.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Jason Tatum and KD go back and forth on each other, because I would expect KD would be the one guarding Jason Tatum. And he's a really good defender. I can't wait for that matchup. I think that's going to be so fun to watch. Brooklyn, to me, is like that team that they have so many guys that can get it done that even in closer games, like Kyrie at halftime had 32 fantasy points last game out. He ended with like 38, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. Like, this could happen a lot this year where guys in the first half just smash. But, like, they have so many good players. And, yeah, the game blew out, but still, in the third quarter, he did really nothing. And they have so many good players that they don't need to have 4 quarters of just an amazing game, these studs, because they've got guys like Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. You talked about when they go small with Jeff Green, which, they definitely do to push the pace a little bit more, which makes sense. And weren't they the only team, like, in the regular season or the postseason in like forever to play 15 guys? I'm pretty sure someone said that. We're like, they played 15 guys. They were like the first team in I don't even know how long, just a while though. So that's another thing. It's not like those direct backups maybe get the full blowout run, right? So that's something else you have to think about with the backups, because I do think that there would be a little better playing like Jared Allen and guys like that, but I can't pay 6,200 if he's not going to get like the full blowout run, which I would like. I don't know. I think this is a game where I'm probably going to be a little under on, outside of maybe Jeff Teague, maybe a KD or a Kyrie. But like outside of that, I'm probably not going to have Jason Tatum, just because there's another stud that we haven't talked about yet that I just think I'm going to be so much heavier on. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree more with AP probably, where I think this game, they're just going to go back and forth, and the Boston minutes are kind of locked in, where Jaylen Brown, the thing you got to weigh on all these slates, like you got studs, it's a Christmas slate. All these guys are going to want to show up. So do you play Tatum or do you play one of the guys in the next couple games? And honestly, like the answer probably for me is, it sounds like a cop-out, but play 2 or 3 teams and play a little bit of each of them. And I don't think, like, Boston isn't an all-in spot. I don't think if I play, let's just use 3 teams, for example, because I think it's a good number for the Christmas slate. I'm not going to go all in on any of these guys, but I like AP's plan, where one of my 3 teams I'm playing Tatum, Brown, Teague, and then run it back with Kyrie or KD. And I probably would rather Kyrie. I know a lot of people would probably choose KD, but Kyrie's got a little bit better matchup. I mean, Tatum and Jaylen can at least defend a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to shut KD down, but I don't really – Kyrie he's going to get buckets. And just one more comment, too, about their D. What's going to make Brooklyn so nasty is they got 2 bigs to protect the rim, and if they do want to go small and close games with KD at the 5, like that lineup is going to be just filthy, and KD can protect the rim as long as he is. So their defense is going to be underrated too this year, I think.
JSU, you're taking Big T's boy. I can already see it, right? That other stud you were talking about?
He's not allowed to after he talked me out of
we will get to that game in a second. I also think that one other guy that we didn't really hit on, but I think this matchup actually tends well to his strength, is Tristan Thompson. I know we only saw 22 minutes, but think about it. How fast Brooklyn's going to play. There might be a lot of rebounding opportunities, cleanups around the glass where, guys go for blocks. He's a really good offensive rebounder as well. He could clean up around there. So I think this matchup, just in general, sets up.
I heard rumors of minute limits.
He was at 22 minutes last game.
Yeah, like I don't think he'll go much higher is the only issue I have with him.
I still think at 5,200 on this slate, he's in play.
22 minutes?
I do. Because he's he can get rebounds in bunches. In 22 minutes, he had 12 points, 8 rebounds. And I think he can get a double-double in 22 minutes. I don't think that's crazy.
I like your guys' Steven Adams call, 5,900. If you're making the case to play Tristan Thompson, at 50, what's he at, 50, 52? Why not pay a little bit more for Steven Adams, who, Van Gundy is loves to have that guy in that rotation.
He'll definitely see more minutes, that's for sure. If you're just trying to lock in like that 30 minutes.
Pace would be better, though. In this game for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Making JSU want to play Tristan. This is what I love about JSU. He wants to play Tristan so freaking bad right now. He wants to put him in that core tomorrow so bad.
JSU, I don't understand kind of that front court and what they're doing. Tristan.
It doesn't make sense to you, right? It doesn't make sense at all.
Just weird,
Okay, in this matchup here, why would you start Tristan Thompson and Daniel Theis? It doesn't make any sense. This is an awful idea against the Brooklyn Nets.
Why do we think they won't just start Teague?
Actually,
much better matchup for sure.
Or I wouldn't even be surprised if they did something stupid like started Semi Ojeleye or some bullshit like that, someone who just plays defense.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Maybe they do start Teague. I think that's their best lineup right now. without Kemba, I even when Kemba comes back, I think you just throw Kemba at the 1, Smart or Teague at the 2, play it 1-2 like that. That's their best lineup. Like, I don't get it. Like, rotate these guys in
Who did they
either
play
way.
last
But
night? I'm drawing a blank.
Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you had a little more size for Milwaukee, though. I wouldn't be shocked if they flipped that lineup.
And, it's not like you're worried about Giannis hitting threes. So you don't have to worry about your big stepping out.
You're not worried about the MVP stroking some threes?
Well, think about this, though.
You?
KD is the opposite of Giannis. You need to worry about this dude wherever he goes on the court. Hey, he's a beast. So that'll be interesting. I think we could see a lineup change there. That's a good point we brought up.
The dude in the chat said, wouldn't you rather T come off the bench so you can get the usage? Yeah, I mean, we're just talking basketball right now. So,
yeah.
I mean, fantasy-wise, I don't know, though. I think people always make this argument about this. Would you rather him? I'm pretty sure I'd rather have him start still if I'm playing T. I mean, some guys are like, I'd rather him off the bench. I'm just fine with him starting at 4,200 too. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, the studs from Boston play so much, like Jalen and Jason Tatum, where it's he's still going to be on the floor with them a lot anyways, where they're going to be the number one options. It's not like Karis LeVert, where he was running solely, it was him, and there was no, he was with all the backup guys. So it was literally his job to just score and play make for everyone. So I guess it's different there. But before we get to the next game, guys, I just want a reminder, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're running a Monkey Knife Fight promo code. Promo code is RUNPURE for a match of up to $50 Monkey Knife Fight contest. We're doing a contest where you tweet out a screenshot for your win and use the hashtag RPSMKF. We'll be picking 2 winners for that contest. RPSMKF will be giving out a t-shirt. So make sure you check that out as well. Monkey Knife Fight will match up to $50. Promo code right now is RUNPURE. Get over there, check it out. Let's move on to the next game. We've got the Dallas Mavericks in the LA Lakers. 227 is the total. AP, let's start here with you. What are you thinking with this Mavericks team who we saw last night? Kind of struggled. Luka struggled. I think he started off 2 for 11. What do you think about Luka? And then talk about the rest of this game.
Yeah, the total's kind of throwing me off in this game. I mean, if you watch the Lakers and then if you watch the Mavericks last night, both these teams do not look sharp right now. Luka looks a little off. He can flip that at any point in time. LeBron was already coming out making excuses, saying the teams only had 7 days together to practice, and that's why they got smashed. I mean, honestly, Dennis Schroeder is the only guy that looked good on that team, and so. This, for me, is kind of – I was really excited to hop on today to see where you guys were at with this game. We've seen these Mavs-Lakers games kind of be like a defensive battle where Luka's struggling. He did have that game one time against LeBron last season where LeBron and him both went nuts, both had massive triple-doubles. Every other game, really underwhelmed. At this point in time, I'm kind of under. To pay – a premium. I guess you can always justify Luka. I mean, he can always, break a slate. He historically has such a good floor. I mean, look at what he put up yesterday, in the first half, and I don't even think he made a shot. He maybe made one shot, and I think he still had 18 or 20 fantasy points. So his floor is just so solid. I just think in tournaments, I want to target a game that I think is going to be a back and forth battle, which is definitely, in my opinion, going to be Nets Celtics or Clippers Nuggets, which we'll get to. So for me, I'm underweight on this game. I don't know if I'm going to full fade it, but it's definitely one I'm under on right now.
Tony, are you feeling like AP? Are you under on this game, or do you like this game a little more?
Yeah, I basically agree with him. I mean, I think the game – it's just the prices again. I keep going back to it. I know usually I trust the Christmas effect with guys like LeBron, and I think he shows up for Christmas a little more. But the problem is, I mean, this dude has played a lot of basketball, coming off a title literally 2 months ago or however long it's been now. Not long though. It's hard to get right back up for things after that playoff run. I think he'll be up, but I mean, 10K. Do I like him more than like Giannis? Probably not. And it's hard for me to do it. I wouldn't be shocked at all if somehow this game did go crazy, but it's just not going to be me. If this game beats me, it beats me. I think the Lakers they got embarrassed a little bit with how they played opening day. I know they got back in it, but they just didn't play very, very, very good. I could see them really putting their foot down and handling Dallas in this spot. The prices, nothing sticks out. I mean, I wish I could play Trez, but 6K, not playing him at 6K. Schroeder, 63, is probably the guy I think that's priced the most fair on the team, I would say. I think starting at the point guard, he's going to have a monster year. I mean, him and Harrell are just – I can't even describe how big of upgrades they are to this Lakers team. In crunch time, when they can roll these two dudes out instead of whatever bums they had in there last year that weren't any good, these dudes are just going to crush. So, I mean, that's the scary part for the rest of the league. We talked about the Nets. This team just won a title. I know it was in the bubble and they got a little luck in their favor too, but they had no role players last year, and now they add two pretty solid pieces. People should take notice that it's going to be a tough hill to climb if these guys stay healthy. But I agree with AP again. I don't necessarily see anything in this game I love. If I was going to play it, it would definitely be the stack. I'd play LeBron and Luka and probably one value guy like Richardson, where if Dallas keeps it close and it does shoot out, I think it will be like there's always a chance Luka and LeBron ends up just going back and forth and they score. But we got to take stands. All the studs are on this slate. You can't play them all. I'm going to fade with AP, I think. I just don't see it. And yeah, we got this next game we're going to get to that I need some exposure to.
Yeah, for me, I think it was telling. LeBron played 28 minutes. He said after that he turned his ankle.
I saw the play where he turned it. He turned it pretty good.
Okay, but still, like, that's not like LeBron to make excuses. I feel like he's better than that. He could just say, yeah, I had a rough game. I've seen him, get injured, get back up, and
it was late in the game anyways, though. Like he got late.
I don't know. I just felt like it was kind of it was kind of a little bit of just, he knew he had a rough game. And I don't know. If I was him, I would just said, yeah, we didn't have it tonight, but we're going to get it next game.
Especially because no one cares anyways. Like, why doesn't he just say we stunk? Like, who cares?
Yeah. Which they did. I'll tell you right now, too, one thing that was telling to me, and I said this on the show, whatever show, I think it was the show that me and AP did, where I really felt like the two secondary guys in Schroeder and Harold were going to be heavily involved early in the year, and they were going to try and get them kind of integrated into the offense because they're going to be huge keys for the offense. Even Harold coming off the bench, he played 32 minutes. Yeah, this dude is really, really good. He gets rebounds, he gets blocks, he hustles, he scores around the rim really well. He can draw fouls. I think that he could expose Dallas down low, where I feel like they struggle. And Ayton, to me, if he wasn't in foul trouble, would have exposed it last night because he would have dominated if he didn't get into foul trouble. I think Harold could dominate here. I like him, and I like going back to Schroeder as well. I'm probably off the Lakers studs. No LeBron for me, even though I agree with Tony that for Christmas, I definitely would subscribe to the LeBron puts in a little bit more effort on these Christmas Day slates because, I mean, everyone's watching and, nationally televised. Like, he loves it. He wants to dominate.
Time slot, too. Like, he literally got the sweet spot time spot where he knows the eyeballs are going to be on him against Luka. He definitely wants to show up.
That is such a nice stack. No one's going to play Montrezl Harrell at 6K and Schroeder at 6.3 at all together.
And play Richardson. Go with the whole mid-range stack in that game.
Coming into it, I mean, when we talked on that first show, you did talk it up because I came in kind of not knowing what the role would be. I thought it was going to be the LeBron AD show. Eventually it is. I think you're 100% right. And then, just getting worked into the system. I think Schroeder is definitely an upgrade from Lou Will, which who Harrell was playing with. I mean, Schroeder knows how to distribute the ball. They're going to be playing that pick and roll. I love that call for tournaments for sure. If you're playing this game, I still lean fade, but I mean, I like that.
Yeah, the thing that Schroeder does, I think, a little better than Lou Will. He's not a better scorer, but he's better at, he gets rebounds. He does a little of everything else, I think, a little better. I think he play makes a little better too. But God, can he get to the hole? Like, can he get to the hoop so quick where, like, he does that little hesitation and it looks like he's almost going slow, but then he takes that one step and one dribble and he somehow gets by these defenders and lays it up and in. Very awkwardly sometimes, but he's just so good at it. I think he's going to have tons of open shot opportunities as well, playing with LeBron and AD. And same with Harrell. Like, when Harrell's on the floor with LeBron and AD, it's just going to make it so much easier for him to dominate as well because the defenses are focused on those two guys. From the Dallas side, I agree. I think it's Richardson if you want to play a Dallas guy, or Luka if you want to spend up. So let's move on to the final game here. In my opinion, I think from the fantasy side, I think this is the best game of the night. We got the LA Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. 224 is the total. Tony, we got to start here with you because you're the Nuggets expert here. What do we think? Is this a Jokic lock button scenario?
So it's interesting on this slate because no one played him yesterday, and then everyone's going to want to play him coming off that monster game. But it's tough not to. I mean, the dude is going to have a monster year, and whenever they play close games, he's going to crush. We saw what he did to the Clippers in the bubble, and they just don't have anyone that can guard him. It's that simple. They just don't. They don't have the pieces. I mean, you look at the roster. I mean, Zubac, what's Zubac going to do against him? I mean, who else do they even have? Like, I'm looking at the roster. There just isn't anyone. They don't have a body to put on him. It's just a mismatch. It's like when he was playing some of the bigger teams like the Lakers last year with those bigs, it was the worst possible matchup. You get him against the Clippers, and it's the reason they won the series. People sure, they missed shots. The Clippers probably should have still won. But the reason they didn't is Jokic just destroyed them. Same thing's going to happen. It's tough not to play Jokic for me. The only way I wouldn't play him is just that Boston stack we talked about where you use some of the salary on that and fade Jokic. But I wish they priced Murray different. Like, he's another guy on this slate. 8,500 is outrageous for him. Like, I know he was awesome in the bubble, and he was probably even priced higher than that in the bubble, but this isn't the bubble, and they got a different team. Will Barton's back. Porter's got a bigger role. They just have other pieces off the bench, too. There's no way this dude should be 8,500. I can't even consider him, not even in the ballpark of being able to play. How much is my boy, how many minutes, JSU, did my boy Campazzo play? Not a ton, right?
So bench guys, Campazzo only played 8 minutes. The guys on the bench that played more than like double-digit minutes were Barton at 33, Dozier at 15, and Monte Morris at 16. And then they only had Hartenstein, who played 9, and Campazzo, who played 8. That was it off the bench. No one else. So the starters got huge minutes. Gary Harris, 42, Murray, 34, Jokic, 42, Porter, 30, and Millsap got 36. How does Paul Millsap get 36 minutes on this team? Someone explain it to me.
OT, right?
Yeah. I
OT.
mean, it's OT, but still, yeah. This might not even be a play tomorrow, but I'm just going to say it because I'm a tournament player. I like the Nuggets. Hartenstein and Campazzo are 3K on DraftKings, and they will have a role on this team. I don't know if it'll be on Christmas. It might not be tomorrow. Again, is there like a million maker on DK tomorrow where it's $20?
$25. Yep.
For $1 million for first?
Yep.
Yeah, like these are milli maker type plays, and I'm going to say it right now. I wouldn't be shocked if these two guys get more run than the first. They're going to have a role on this team throughout the game. It could not work out if you're watching this. You could easily get hardly 8 minutes again from these guys, but they are stone men on a slate with all stars. Another thing that could happen, say you stack up the Brooklyn-Boston game and you use a ton of salary on those studs, You play these two guys, Campazzo and Hartenstein. What if we get a blowout in this game? Either way, the Clippers or the Nuggets, all of a sudden you're in this last game chasing $1 million, and you got these two studs playing the whole fourth quarter somehow. Again, it's a Millie Maker play. Don't go play it in your cash. Don't play it in your high-stakes stuff. As a Nuggets guy, these guys will 1,000,000% have roles. Hardenstein's going to play the Plumlee role, and he actually looks better than Plumlee to me. Campazzo's going to get minutes. He's a veteran. He could even play more in this game anyways because he's a veteran. I like these guys. They're total tournament flyers, but I like them, so I'll throw that out there. And now back to the good guys, though. Jokic, Porter, I'm going to like. He's going to get more minutes. Gary Harris, you're never playing. Just cross him off your list. He is completely a carcass out there, just dead, just not good. He should never be 5,200. If you pay 5,200 for Gary Harris, like, you need to reconsider things in life because he freaking sucks. So now let's look at the Clippers side, though, because I think it's a little more interesting. The Nuggets always have issues with the wing. Like, Paul George and Kawhi both match up really good with the Nuggets. They don't have wings that can guard these guys. So that's what makes this game so compelling to me. You got Jokic and these two all in really good spots to succeed. And if this game stays close, Ibaka's too cheap at 54. Zubac's probably too cheap at 53. Lou is too cheap at 52. Basically, I feel like all the Clippers are a little underpriced compared to the rest of the slate. And the Nuggets are going to be awesome on offense, but they're not going to play defense. They are not going to play D all year. They're not built to play defense. I think this game could shoot out, and obviously it's the late hammer. Everyone's going to like it, but people will want to play other guys throughout the day. So it might end up lower owned than people think too. This game looks really, really good. So I want to hear what you guys say about all my bad takes I just gave.
I mean, Campazzo, and I like Hartenstein, actually. Hartenstein, if you told me he was going to get 15 minutes, I think he's a Millie Maker type play. Definitely. Like, I think so. I don't know if he gets it. Like, Paul Millsap would have to come off the floor. Jokic would have to come off the floor. They don't want to
though, JSU, foul trouble, different things happen.
You're right. No, you're 100% right there. I think from the Clippers side, one thing that was telling to me, I mean, Serge Ibaka looked pretty good to me, but Zubac looked even better. And they actually saw that because he got more of the run. He got 27 minutes to Ibaka's 21. And it was really because I think the coaching staff just let him run out there a little bit more because he was playing well. Because I didn't think it was like anything Ibaka did that got him like sat down, like in my opinion, anyways. I watched that whole game. And then, Nick Batum, he's not going to score or anything like that. He really is in there. He'll get some rebounds, get some assists. But it's really just the Kawhi, Paul George, and when Lou Will's in, Lou Will, those are the three guys that play make. I think you want at least one of them if you're stacking this game, maybe two. Tough to fit in Paul George and Kawhi if you're playing Jokic, but maybe it's a slate where you play Kawhi and Jokic as your studs and stack this game up. Like, I wouldn't mind that because, like Tony said, Denver's going to score a lot, but they're not going to play defense. I agree with them there. So I do think guys like Kawhi, who was just ultra aggressive last game and shot 10 for 26 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3, and he scored 26 points. Think about like that. He had a rough game and he scored 26 points. Like, what if he gets 10 rebounds? He only had 2 and 3 assists. Like, what if he gets 10 rebounds and his shot's on and he's taking 26 shots? He could dominate this slate. So I like Kawhi as another spend up. I think Jokic and Kawhi are my two favorites on the night. Which I don't think both of them will be maybe one will, maybe Jokic will be somewhat popular, but I don't think Kawhi will be. I think everyone's going to play KD over him. They're going to look at what Jason Tatum did. Maybe they play Tatum over him.
You're right about Kawhi. There's no way at 9,800. There's just no way he's high owned. Like, it's impossible.
Yep. I like Kawhi. I like him here. AP, what do you think about the Clippers side and then the Denver side?
So yeah, I agree. I agree with part of what Big T said, and man, I hate to disagree with JSU, but you know,
No,
it is what it is.
I like
You
to
can't. No,
disagree with
I
him.
know, I know.
Get
So
in there
like,
on him.
here's my concern with this game. Going into the Clippers-Lakers game when we were doing the write-ups, I'm an idiot for not betting the Clippers. Like, I think the Lakers were favored, and I was just like, look, this Clippers team is coming in with a chip on their shoulder. They looked good, and they took it to LA. This Nuggets team, I mean, man, you're losing to the Kings right out of the gate. Jamal Murray. So in the playoffs, they beat the Clippers in the series on the heels of Jamal Murray just shooting lights out. That first game in the series, when Jamal Murray was struggling, they got smoked. They lost by like 30 or 40 points. I fear that if they can't get shooting early on, that this game could be kind of a disaster. And, you know, that's kind of what my gut's saying. And the other thing is what Big T said. Man, we missed an opportunity for Jokic yesterday. If I wasn't on Jokic in that, you know, such a nice matchup yesterday, I don't necessarily want to rush over to him because I think a lot of people are going to do that. So for me, just long-term season strategy, I'm just going to double down on this Nets games. What I do think is interesting that I wasn't thinking about at all is if this game blows out in favor of the Clippers, if they come in and just absolutely smoke them, which they could, who knows? You know, it could also be a battle. I definitely agree with that. I definitely wasn't looking at these two guys that Big T mentioned. I mean, that could be –
No one is.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a really interesting way to play it out. The other thing, though, too, is I don't think you can fade – if you're stacking this game, JSU, you better not fade Michael Porter Jr. He got into foul trouble early yesterday, did not play many minutes in the first half at all, absolutely smashed in the second half. I think – one way the Nuggets stay in this game, if Jamal Murray is struggling, is definitely MPJ. I think in this game alone, he's my favorite play. Again, I do worry about what Malone will do is like if this Clippers team is just attacking them. The difference is who do they put in, to replace from a defensive standpoint. They don't have those guys. They don't have a Grant that they can take, Michael Porter Jr. out and put in Jeremy Grant for defense. They got to roll with MPJ. And so I think I'm going to end up a little under on this game for sure. When I look at Paul George and Kawhi, they're priced almost identically to Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I definitely agree with you that Kevin Durant is definitely going to be more popular than Kawhi Leonard. So from a tournament standpoint, I do love Kawhi, like in your stacks, if you're attacking this game. Again, I think I'm going to double down on the Boston side, which is interesting because, like, I have a bet on the Nets and their side. I think the Nets win. I just think that it's going to be a battle between those two games, and I think it's going to be like a 6 to 7 point Nets win, but we're going to see a ton of starters in the whole time. So I'm going to have to take a look at Hartenstein and so, I mean, is Bull out of the rotation, or what's going on with this guy?
Bull's gone. Yeah,
he's kind of like Trey Lyles, completely out of the rotation.
Yeah, he's not going to play. I don't know why he's not going to play, but he's not going to play. Like they should find some sort of role for him.
Hold on, so I got to come back a little bit.
You got to apologize before you do anything. You got to apologize for making fun of me about him.
Nope. Hold on.
No, I want an apology.
Before I get to you, I have to go back on AP about Jokic. So one thing that I don't necessarily buy into from this past slate is, yes, Jokic had a huge game. Yes, he was a great play at low ownership. But the one thing I just because of the slate we had, the winning lineups, like I'm just gonna take the $15 tournament on DraftKings. The winning lineup didn't have Jokic. The second lineup didn't have Jokic.
Wasn't he cheaper? Like I saw all these teams too, and I didn't go back and look because it was just a busy night with stuff. What couldn't you have got him on a lot of those teams too, though?
So a lot of these builds were mid-range builds where they took a bunch of 7K players, 6 and 7K players.
Well, they still had like Drummond, didn't they? And these
so listen. So my boy, I actually just pulled this up. Shout out to my boy Frankie V. He took down the $15 tournament, 200K up top, FVAC 23. I'm just looking at his lineup right now. He had Drew Holiday, Terry Rozier, Chris Middleton, Gordon Hayward, Larry Nance, DeJounte Murray, Jaylen Brown, and Dylan Brooks. That was the winning lineup in the $15. Now, I don't know, like maybe a Jokic
Dylan Brooks
lineup.
was on the winner? Wow.
Yeah. He had 33.5. So I'm just saying, though, like.
Well, I think, like, what was Jokic owned, though? Like, he was probably 1% owned.
He was like 3%. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I get the game log thing, but there were so many good plays last night. I don't think that from this slate, because it was so massive and there were so many good plays, like John Moran, who scored 66. We had a ton of guys who had big numbers. I don't think it's as like it's that way just because of the winning lineups. If he was on the winners on everything, you'd probably be right. But just because of that, I don't know if that's full out the case.
So many studs on the slate anyways that, like, none of them can be – like, it's not like any of these guys are going to be 50% or something. Like, it's just – it's impossible.
Yeah. There's no way Giannis is not high owned. There's
like,
no
he's
way.
guaranteed to be 40 or 50 always, like Giannis. 30, 40, I should say.
Luka with the floor that AP was talking about, even in the bad game he had last night, what do you end up with, like 50, 49 and a half? Like 49, he's going to be owned against LeBron. People are going to want that game. Like, come on. Like, there's going to be a lot of studs that are owned.
Don't you think a lot of people are going to try to jam in 2 studs too, just for that floor safety? So, I mean. And
I think a lot of people too just will space it. They'll play 3 teams and play all the stars. There's so many people I know that do that. And, like, I kind of said to space your teams, but that doesn't mean play 1 star here, another here, another. Like, you got to take some stands. Don't just spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
Now let's get back to the MPJ apology.
All right. I'm sorry, Tony. I apologize for the MPJ.
I just want to make it clear, though, not just to troll JSU. Like I've said from the beginning, people are worried about Malone. That is not going to be an issue this year. He's going to play 30-plus minutes. He's just going to do it. If he doesn't, they're going to trade him. Like, he's not going back to the bench role. He's either playing those minutes or he's gone. Like, it's just that simple. He's going to crush. His price has got to be higher.
The best part about this whole thing is I'm a huge MPJ fan. I just didn't like him last night, so Tony wants to troll me because
I was on that show. I was trying to help out. I said my 2 locks were Nance and Porter, and you just shit on me. Just freaking made fun of me. Just shit on me.
He only played 7 minutes in the first half too, which is
he got 3 immediately. Yeah. Those 3 fouls.
Yeah.
Brutal. And he's still crushed. He
played all overtime too, correct?
Yeah.
So he picked up 5 on the backside. I mean, that block he had in the corner was just ridiculous. Like, that length, when people say he can't defend, I mean, he's going to crush.
Tony, Mike Gray says Nuggets should trade Barton or start him over Gary Harris.
So I don't disagree with that he's better than Harris, because he is, but I don't think he fits the starting unit better. We don't need more scoring on the starting unit.
You know why he doesn't fit? Because he needs the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
That's
why.
End
of the games. I hate him at the end of games. He tries to do too much. That's why they lost last night. He's trying to do too freaking much.
So, like, who do you got?
Fouled out last night too. People haven't talked about that. Like, he fouled out early too.
Who's gonna guard Paul George and Kawhi Leonard?
Nobody.
Yeah,
I can't wait for MPJ. You want to talk about worried about Malone? What if like Kawhi drops like 15 or 20 in the first quarter?
The crazy part is, though, you guys are making fun of MPJ, but whoever the other matchup is, I think is even better though, because MPJ at least has length. Who's going to guard the other one though?
Gary Harris.
Like,
why do they love Gary Harris? Tony, can you tell me why they love Gary Harris?
Because he used to be decent like 4 years ago, and then he got hurt, and he just hasn't been the same.
He's definitely not as good.
Oh, God, he's bad.
It's full on a name for sure. It's
He used to be like a solid defender.
When that Kyrie trade stuff was happening with Boston, when he was still in Cleveland, like there was a time where there was a deal on the table with Denver where it was Gary Harris and I can't even remember who, like Gary and a couple other good pieces. But the sticking point was Gary Harris at the time. Like, we can't give up Gary Harris. That's how far he's fallen.
Yep, that's it. Anything else here, boys, you want to hit on?
No.
I think we gave a pretty good breakdown there for the Christmas for the people watching. I'm sure a ton of people will watch this tomorrow as they build their teams, but Merry Christmas to everyone for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, guys. Merry Christmas. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the video. And don't forget promo code Buckets15 gets you 15% off for the life of your subscription. So Buckets15 is the promo code, 15% off the life of your subscription. Get in now, get the content we have rolling out for NBA. It's going to be a ton. It's going to be a really good year. Don't forget also we're running those NBA NFL shows this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, up to lock through NBA, and then up to lock pretty much for the NFL Showdown. I think me and Title will be on Saturday. So come and hang out with me in Titletown as we take you guys up through lock. It might even be Bobby Gomes too, might come on with us too. So it might be all three of us.
AP joining the Wood too this weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, AP, they're doing a Saturday morning Wood show. AP will be the special guest on the Wood show with Big T and Hoop. So check them out.
I think Beat Hard Day too. We get to welcome AP in on Beat Hard Day.
Oh God! All right, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here before Tony talks anymore about.
I'm gonna post a video like that. They're the one that really like woo 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 or whatever.
All right, guys. That's gonna do it for us. Beat Goat Day is Saturday, so make sure you tune in to Tony, AP, and Hoop for the Wood Show on Saturday. For me, JSU, AP, Big T. We'll see you guys later.